Hello all. Okay, so I'm still watching this trail of trash, and this is probably going to be quite a short video compared to the others. Sadly, I'm an obsessive completist. In my entire life, I've only ever switched off two films. One, the original The Haunting, when I was young, and Dracula Dead and Loving It, because it's just plain awful. So now we're on to episode 4, 73 Yards, and time for Millie Gibson to shine in a predominantly solo outing, but sadly, she shines about as much as a polished turd. That's probably a bit harsh, but she's a soap actress, and it shows.
What have you done? Did you do this?
The basic story is that Ruby and the Doctor arrive in Wales in present day. I mean, Wales is a beautiful place, but you've got the whole of time and space to choose from. And they go somewhere you could get to by train, and Ruby has already been. There's not even a reason for them to be there. Anyway, the Doctor stumbles into a string fairy circle, or so described, and they both interfere with the items entangled within. Suddenly the Doctor is gone, the TARDIS locked, and an old woman is standing in the distance. And for the rest of her life, this woman follows Ruby, always standing in the distance. And as the title suggests, always 73 yards away. Like with previous episodes, this one is a concoction of derivative ideas. If you haven't figured it out because it's pretty obvious, when you find out who the old woman is, you'll remember it from other stories, and the subplot of the MP from another. Again, there's a core of an idea, and if it had stayed in the original location with its creepy atmosphere, it could have worked well. It's clearly going down a supernatural route with mention of fairies and witches, though it's all done incredibly vaguely, and could have evoked those occult 70s horror movies, or make you question what's real and what isn't, but it rushes far too quickly into the just plain mundane. Now this sort of stuff in the mundane can be chilling too, but here it's just not. It's just ordinary. The premise is fine, the entire story is one of those enigmatic, nothing's quite explained narratives. It's intriguing enough, but the setup and payoff don't make sense, neither does the reaction people have to talking to the old woman. Again, when you find out who she is, you'll probably think the same. A solo outing is a perfect vehicle to understand and connect with a companion, but we learn nothing new. I just don't care about Ruby. In fact, it makes you care for her less because she lets a young woman be taken advantage of by a sexual predator. So much for me too, I guess. Where's those morals? And the funny thing is, there's a scene where somebody else other than Millie plays Ruby, and she's so much better with more charisma. The scenes in the pub are just farcical, with cringy, nonsensical dialogue and one chap who's clearly
the only gay in the village.
The subplot with the MP is obvious and trite, clearly RTD making a hackneyed point about populist politicians. Such a shame he couldn't have put his obvious political leanings aside and gone with something more unique and interesting. I mean, didn't we already get this with the Master? And that's probably the biggest problem with this episode. It's dull. After the initial eeriness, it's boring. We just follow Ruby's boring life, everything taking longer than it needs to. It lacks snap and good pacing. Murray Gold, with a better score, does his best to inject some drama and emotion, but the flat and uninspired directing, especially in the second half, removes any chance of that. And much like the previous episode, there are so many close-ups, extreme close-ups of people. Maybe the point is to accentuate the distance and the abandonment that she feels, but if you just do head and shoulders and close-ups, it's actually quite uninteresting to watch or read in the case of comics. It was nice to see Kate Lethbridge-Stewart back for a brief scene where she affirms the show's sojourn into the supernatural, but overall it was meaningless, both as an episode and to the wider arc of the series. The same could obviously be said for other earlier RTD Doctor Who episodes, but even the worst of those had moments of character growth for either the Doctor or companion.
Easy for you to say, you don't have kids.
I was a dad once.
What did she say?
Here there's literally nothing. They could have dropped hints at the mystery surrounding Ruby, her origins, who she is, what she is. But no, nothing. It wasn't terrible, but it was lackluster and mostly utterly pointless. So what did you think of the episode? Better, worse, or about the same? If you're still watching, that is. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, I do appreciate it, and peace out.